Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel here. We're going to do a little build video here of the X-Carve. This is going to be the first video. Take us about halfway through the build. And sorry, my office behind me is a mess. It's been a busy week of shipping. And still have parts over here. I need a list on eBay, and yeah, it's been a busy week. I've been spending a couple hours a day with the build of the X-Carve, and I want to just jump to it. That's about it. So let's just jump to it. Most of it's going to be time-lapse of me putting together. Mango wants to say hi. Come on. And in between some of the time-lapses, I'll stop and do some commentary on what I found that may have confused me. I was confused quite a bit. Or maybe a couple tips that may help you in your build. So let's just jump into it and get going. Bye, Mango. Take a little stop right there. Got the first few steps of the carriage assembly, or whatever they call the gantry assemblies, completed here. You had, let's see if I can go back in instructions here and figure out what each one was called. These were the fixed, no, these were the fixed, these ones on the inside are fixed V wheels. Then you had the adjustable V wheels on the outsides, and then the differences there is they had a spacer put in here. The only thing I can note about that is the spacer does not fit loosely into that hole. What it's meant to later on is be able to take a wrench to this spacer and turn it, and I guess that will turn the something. We'll get to that later when I figure it out. But anyway, when you tighten it, it will kind of press into that. The shoulder will kind of press into the hole, so make sure it's aligned. Next point were these idler wheels, which are these two here, and they have a big spacer right in there. I would actually switch these two steps. The step after putting these two on, as you saw, was to put in the stepper motor. And the problem I had there, it wasn't really a problem, but is, as you can see the gap here, you can't get the nut up on the bolt when you push in. It's just kind of hard to work with. And with a wrench with this in place, it's kind of hard to work with. So I would actually flip the two steps and put in the stepper motor in, and then put in the two idler wheels on both of these. It just make it easier, wrench work and putting on the nuts as you see me dropping tools. It would have been easier. A quick note on all these V wheels, even these idler wheels, is let me grab one if I can. Let's see if I can see one. Yep, there's one right on top there. I'm going to put you down for a second. You can watch Oblivion while I grab a V wheel. Now, if you look down the center of the V wheel, you can see the hole is not a complete circle. That's because there seems to be a little washer there in between the ball bearings. All I did is take my little Allen wrench and put it down there to push it aside. So now it's more of a perfect circle. So you have to watch that. I'm sure you guys will pick up on it. So I'm going to take a little break and then I will come back into my next part, which is, let's see. Like I said, I have a problem with the internet out here, so it's not going to do it. That's why I kept on going inside. I don't know why I have problems out here. It's not that far from the base station. But next is to put in some other brackets for the chain, and we'll just keep on going as we can. All right, see you next clip. Okay, we're gonna stop the time lapse there for a couple pointers here. One, you can see at the end of that video, towards the end, that I took this plate off and switched it around. The pictures when you put this plate here and attach it to the rail weren't quite clear, so I had it upside down. And you gotta make sure it's right side up so you get the switch here in the right position. So yeah, the screws that are holding this bearing in, the head's gonna go down. So make sure you get that correct. And I guess the second quick thing, the pictures show there's a plastic piece here, I wish I can show you here, that attaches the spindle mount to the screw here, the long screw, so it can go up and down on the rail here. I would go ahead and thread that on at the bottom. Like you might have saw, I started it off on the bottom, then I took it off, it went from the top, because the picture shows it towards the top. I would do it towards the bottom and try to get it like midway, thread it on before you attach the spindle mount. And the reason for that is on the one step here, let's see what the last step of this, where you're putting in the limit switch, You also put in, I don't know if you guys can see it here, there's a bolt right here. It threads into this plate, and you're supposed to thread it in from the bottom. It's a physical stop, so when your spindle's going up on the bolt and it hits that, it physically stops. And you're supposed to screw it in to where it's up to where your switch will still activate. So I probably put mine up a little bit more. So your micro switch will still activate, and then you put a nut on the top. Well, if that plastic piece on the long bolt is too high up and your spinner mount's too high up, you probably saw me at the end twisting it to bring it down to give you room to put this in. It was loose thread for me, so I could do it all by hand or finger. But if you have to get a wrench in there, you'll need more room. So, and then you might have saw me use my little pliers at the end there on this nut, nylon nut. It's to lock down the physical stop screw, but apparently it's the one tool, one nut. There's not a tool provided in the toolkit. So if you get the toolkit, you won't have a tool for that. It's a 5.5 millimeter. And it mentions that in the instructions, and they show them putting it on with a nut driver. So you might want to get yourself a 5.5 millimeter nut driver before, or a pair of pliers or whatever before you get to that stage. So that is the carriage assembly. This is the X carriage rails, go right on the rails. This is your Z. You got your micro switches here for the X, and it's on the other one for the Y. So that's fully assembled. The next step after this point is assembling the whole gantry rail. And it doesn't show it attached to the board, so I'm going to go ahead and do that next and get the gantry set up, and I'll set it aside. If this is done before or whatever, the other video I posted where my wasteboard hasn't shown up yet, I did get notification it's shipped, and it's supposed to be here Friday, and it's Tuesday. So I'm kind of moving along, and hopefully it'll be ready for it when it arrives. So the next part, and these are the gantry sides for the Y axis, going back and forth on those rails with your limit switch there. This is the left side, I believe. Yeah, left side has the drag chain bracket on it. And this is the right side, which is just the wheels and a motor on it. Now, going back to my minor complaint, because it was kind of fun putting this all together. And putting it all together, it does get you to be intimately knowledgeable with everything. And, yeah, but still, they could have shipped this like, here's gantry right, here's gantry left. And maybe not with the spindle mount, but they could have put the spindle mount with the wheels as a spindle mount assembly. And this could have been your carriage assembly. It could have been put together. It probably saves money by putting it together yourself as well. So there is that. So that's it up to this point. If this continues on, I'll see you in the next clip. So, which will be assembly of, let's see, the gantry assembly. And I'll show you, my laptop operates great out here, so that's good. So that's the gantry assembly. We're going to put that all together and have it ready to go. Alright, we're done with the, well, not completely done. We still have to do the drag chain, of course, and the wiring, and then there's another motor there. but we're at the stage of instructions where they tell me to start doing the rails for the side mount of the board. So I'll put those together, but I probably won't mount it like that yet because I don't have my board yet, and the board will be here in 2 days. So I'll put the rails together, set them aside, and move on to the next step. But one thing that had me confused on this, maybe I'm just easily confused, is when you, the instructions here, I can go back to it, had you start putting the gantry sides onto the gantry rail here, the first side plate. Does it here? Yeah, they talk about attaching the side plate. And they show you pictures and they talk about the left side plate first. And if you saw a couple clips back, I showed you the left side plate is the one with this bracket for the chain. Problem is, the picture they show here, as we get to it, and it says right there, left side plate, we're attaching it. And then here it is, they're jumping to the right side plate. And you're not supposed to put the right side plate on yet. And so, and when they show pictures, even when they show the carriage here, you jump ahead, this is the left side plate. They show it without this plate here. And they never mention that they removed it for viewing purposes or instructional purposes at all. So that confused the hell out of me for a while. And finally, when I went further on, and there it is again, left side plate with no rail, chain rail plate. I think I finally saw it in another picture way up, way here in the future. There it is there. It's now shown there. So that just got me confused there. Don't let that confuse you. I guess they're showing it out of the way for some reason. But that's the left plate that goes on the left side. The bevel here is to the front with your X-Carve label. And I also got kind of confused is they mention when you're putting this on, you're going to put this on, then you're going to put the carriage, and then you're going to slide these nuts on there. And they kind of made it sound like you're going to have the nuts on both sides. And I ended up taking this off and putting them there until I finally read things and took them out. These are going to be for later on for belt tensioning. Let me get to that part. So I need to take a break and rest and go get some food. So we'll continue on in a few moments. Hey, our wasteboard came in a day early. Went on my postal run this morning to drop off shipping. On the way back, I got back and FedEx had dropped off, and it's out there, the sideboard and my wasteboard package. And thank you, FedEx, for doing a great job and tucking it under the eaves by the door so the rain didn't get everything wet. So we're going back towards step 1 here on the instructions. And what they start you off with is putting in these 144 little screws in here. These are used for the clamps on the other side, but getting those put in. And they recommend it, and I would too, rather than do this by hand. I went and ran out to Home Depot and got I had to get a 1/4 inch 3/8 drive bit for my driver, and then a 3/8 drive to 5mm bit. They didn't have a 5mm drive bit for this. So anyway, here we go. Putting our wasteboard together. Since our carriage and gantry are all together, and the next step is basically attach those to this anyway. Good point to come back and get this done, and then we'll just move forward from there. Okay, there you go. It may have been about 30 seconds in time lapse. Real life, it was about 12 minutes at most, 11, 12 minutes. So not too bad if you have a power driver to put them in. They give you 6 extras. I don't know if those extras are going to use them somewhere down the road, but we'll save them and set them aside. So it wasn't as bad as I thought, but then again, why doesn't the board come this way? How hard is it to ship a board with these screws already installed? Anyway, let's get to putting this thing together more. I don't know if you saw me smack my head there in an aha moment, but yeah, in this stage when you're doing this, it has 2 sets of screws. One set is 8 millimeters long and the other one's 12 millimeters long. Me looking at the pictures and not reading, got confused, and the 8 millimeter, the shorter screws, go in the bottom of these plates to hold the rail to the board. And I put the long ones up top for some reason. I was thinking, yeah, of course. That's obvious. But it's not. So I'm gonna go around here off camera, take out the long screws. Oh, yeah, take out the short screws and replace them with the long screws on top, and then finish up attaching the plates to the wasteboard assembly. Don't know need for you to sit here and watch that. So I don't know if it's my eyes. It must be my eyes. It just seems like that board is warped, or that beam, but I guess it's not. So we're getting there. Might be a good time to take a little break and load this video, I don't know, and then make it a 2-parter. Because after this comes together, we still got the chain to put on, all the wiring, the spindle, the controller, so this might be a 2-part video just to keep each part down 20 minutes or lower. Can you see my head? So, and you saw me put these boards in there. My assembly table is not 4 feet. Where's a tape measure? Get you an exact measurement of this. So the board is 39 and a half, actually 39 if I want to be technical, 5/8. And my assembly table is not that big, so I put these in there so it will bring up the rails easier for me to attach them. Now once I get this built up and that cleaned off, this will sit over there on that craft table until I get my table built. Hopefully next week I'll get that built. I'm going to put this up on Craigslist, get it out of here, get the seating table taken apart out of here, put the treadmill that no one uses, but everyone says we can't get rid of it because they're going to use it. I'll park it over there if I can and get the X-Carve to park over here until I get this section torn out. let's give you a width. Well, we should go motor to motor. I mean, if you go rail to rail for a footprint, it's 39 and 3/8 across. But you're gonna have, if you're gonna put your controller here, you're gonna have the sideboard. I'm gonna try to get my controller in the tabletop. If you go motor to motor across, it looks like it's more 43.5 inches. So you need 43.5 inches, say 44 inches clearance for this thing to move back and forth. So anyway, I think that's gonna end this video, and we'll do a second video doing all the wiring and everything else, because like I said, I want to keep this in 20 minutes. So we basically got the wasteboard done, the rails, gantry size, gantry, the carriage, which I'm going to have to loosen up a little bit. It's a little tight and snug there. And there we go. That might be good. Carriage, the Z axis, and the spindle mounted to when all the switches and everything. So that will be it for part 1 of the X-Carve build, the 1000 millimeter. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give you some ideas if you're considering buying it, what you need to do. And part 2 will come in a few days, because I'm going to keep on working on this a little bit tonight and tomorrow, and hopefully have it done by the weekend. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later. I hope you like it. Click like below. Make any comments or questions you have below on the building of this. I appreciate if anybody subscribes. I love new subscribers. Hit the little bell if you want to get notifications. If whenever I come out with a new video, get notified when part 2 of this comes out. And hope you guys have a good week. Talk to you guys later.